This is a story worth remembering, and the story starts now. On a cold December morning in 1938 in the heart of Berlin, a nervous man sat in the office of a Nazi official. His hands trembled as he clutched a small wooden box. Inside the box was what appeared to be an ordinary rock, but this rock was far from ordinary, and this man was no ordinary scientist. Utoh Han, a respected German chemist, had uncovered something astonishing, something that would forever alter the course of human history, but in this moment even he didn't fully understand what he had found. In fact, he was convinced he had made a mistake. You see, Han had spent months bombarding uranium with neutrons, a common experiment among physicists of the time. The goal was to study how atoms behaved under such stress, but what Han observed defied the very laws of physics as they were understood. The uranium atoms had split apart, and that was impossible, or so he thought. Han wasn't just uncertain, he was terrified. The implications of what he had seen, if true, were beyond comprehension. So he did what any scientist in his position would do. He wrote to someone smarter. Lisa Meitner, his former research partner, was one of the most brilliant physicists of her time. Together, Han and Meitner had conducted groundbreaking research for decades. But by 1938, Lisa, a Jewish woman in Nazi Germany, had been forced to flee the country. Now living in Sweden, she was safe. But her heart remained with the work she loved and the colleagues she had left behind. On Christmas Eve of that year, Meitner received Han's letter. It was filled with technical jargon, half apologies, and a plea for her insight. While others celebrated the holiday, Meitner and her nephew, Otto Frisch, also a physicist, took a walk in the snow, deep in thought. As they strolled through the quiet, white-blanketed woods, Meitner did calculations in her head and on scraps of paper. She replayed Han's results over and over. The cold air stung her cheeks, but her mind burned with intensity. Then she stopped. In that moment, standing among the pine trees, Lisa Meitner solved the puzzle. The uranium nucleus under the bombardment of neutrons had split into two lighter elements, and in that split, a tiny amount of matter had vanished. That matter had been converted to energy. Einstein's had predicted this very phenomenon, but no one had ever observed it before. Meitner and Frisch called it nuclear fission. It was a discovery so profound, it would reshape not just science, but the entire world. But here's where our story takes a darker turn. Han published their findings, but with no mention of Meitner's critical role. Whether it was fear of Nazi retaliation or his own ambition, Han claimed the glory for himself. And in 1944, Utoh Han received the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for the discovery of nuclear fission. During his acceptance speech, Han spoke of experiments, data, and his methods. But not once did he mention Lisa Meitner, the woman who had provided the theoretical explanation, the very key to understanding his results. Meanwhile, the world was hurtling toward chaos. Meitner's discovery, hijacked by global powers, became the foundation of the Manhattan Project. The atomic bomb was born. When invited to join the project, Meitner refused. She replied simply, "I will have nothing to do with a bomb." In a time when many were swept up in the race for military dominance, Lisa Meitner stood firm. Instead, she continued her peaceful research. In Cambridge, England, she found recognition, though never the accolades she truly deserved. The Nobel Committee would later face harsh criticism for its exclusion of her contribution. Years passed and the world entered the nuclear age. Bombs were tested, alliances were forged, and humanity grappled with the immense power of the atom. But Lisa Meitner remained true to herself. When asked later in life what she was most proud of, she didn't mention nuclear fission or her pioneering role in physics. She simply said, "I am proud that I never lost my moral compass, even in the darkest of times." And in 1997, long after her death, the scientific community paid tribute to her in a way the Nobel Committee never had. Element 109 on the periodic table was named Meitnerium in her honor. Today in physics classrooms around the world, students learn about nuclear fission. They read about Han, the experiments, and the bomb, but few are taught the story of Lisa Meitner, the story of a woman who fled her homeland but never abandoned her principles. A woman whose mind unlocked the power of the atom, yet whose heart refused to use it for destruction. And so, while Utoh Han's discovery made headlines, it was Lisa Meitner's understanding that made history, and that's a story worth remembering. Thank you for joining us on A Story Worth Remembering. If this story touched your heart, inspired you, or made you reflect, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below with your favorite moment or lesson from today's episode. Subscribe to our channel for more unforgettable stories that inspire and uplift. Don't forget to smash the bell so you never miss a tale worth remembering. And if you enjoyed this, please like the video. It helps us share these stories with more people. Together, let's keep the art of storytelling alive. See you in the next story.